Palladium Tower stood in the center of the drowned city like a stainless steel lighthouse over a sea of ruin. On the first morning of every new fiscal year, its boardroom filled with delegates from the 8 dominant megacorps, each hoping the annual rotation lottery would award them one of the region's subterranean survival bunkers. Officially, the process was random, the epitome of procedural fairness. Unofficially, each draw was a televised blood sport. The losers relinquished their bunkers and were escorted out of the boardroom to a private annex, where a single pistol was provided. Even in an era of drones and neuroviruses, tradition demanded that surrender be personal, intimate, and irreversible. Kiera Jane, senior statistician for Viridian Analytics, had watched 5 lotteries from the data gallery. The spectacle turned her stomach, but her role was simple. Verify that the proprietary randomization engine and algorithm she herself had architected years earlier remained mathematically sound. It had been her dream project, a masterpiece of cryptographic elegance, until she discovered where it would be deployed. Now, every January, she and her team ran integrity checks, while the city above them flooded a little more, and the boardroom demanded its sacrificial drama. This year, everything was different. 6 months earlier, Kira's sister Lena, only 16, brilliant and fragile, had been expelled from the government's ARC program for hacking the admissions database to Ghost and her best friend, a non-citizen named Raffi. They had nowhere to go. Lena and Raffi became squatters in Kira's apartment, wedged behind stacks of servers, eating ration bars and whispering about freedom. Kira had no biological children, but when she looked at the two of them hunched over code like guerrilla poets, she felt a ferocity that surprised her. They were her chosen family. She would not let the lottery wipe them away. So she decided to rig it. The bunker Viridian owned Omega-4, deep beneath old Chinatown, was the safest in the grid. 5 years of provisions, private aquifers, and quantum mesh walls that could survive a direct orbital strike. If Viridian lost the lottery this year, the bunker would pass to whichever corporation drew ball 4. And when corporations claimed property, they claimed all assets inside, human or otherwise. Lena and Raffi were currently hidden in Omega-4, their presence known only to Kira and a retired security android named Mender. If Viridian lost, security sweeps would begin, and the 2 teenagers would be discovered, detained, or worse. Kira's dilemma would have stymied a lesser statistician, but she knew every line of the system's code, every entropic seed, every air-gapped vault that stored the starting hashes. She also knew how thoroughly the corporations audited each other. A blatant alteration would be caught. She needed a subtle skew, just enough bias to keep ball 4 from being drawn. Ideally, it would fall to Viridian or an ally unlikely to inspect Omega-4 deeply. She zeroed in on the pseudo-Ragna permutation that mapped hashed board member IDs to ball numbers. A microscopic perturbation, introduced at the 12 millionth decimal, would reorder 1% of the mapping, reducing the probability of ball 4 appearing in the final selection by 83%. She could hide the change inside a firmware patch, correcting a boundary condition for leap seconds. Even if the other megacorps scanned the binaries, they'd assume it was routine maintenance. The night before the lottery, Kira took the Magtram to Omega-4 to tell Lena and Raffi. She navigated the mile-long access tunnel, submitted to the iris scan, and slipped through the vault door. The bunker smelled like plastic hydroponics and soy noodles. "You sure you can do this?" Lena asked, purple bangs shadowing her eyes. Kira tried for humor. "I wrote the machine. It still asks me for permission when it wants to sneeze." Raffi paced. "What if the draw glitches? Boardroom analysts will swarm the logs." "I've accounted for every audit path," Kira told him. "I need you 2 offline for 48 hours, grace period between the draw and custody transfer. After that, if Viridian retains ownership, we're safe. If not—" Lena finished the sentence. "We scram, I know." They clasped hands. Kira felt their fingers, young and brittle, and suddenly the abstract elegance of her plan shrank to a single point of fear. But she nodded once, made herself turn away, and caught the last tram back to Palladium. The lottery dawned on a blood-red sky. Ash from volcanoes halfway across the continent streaking the clouds. Board members filed into the glass-walled boardroom. Lucent Bio in bone-white suits, Gorgon Security in armored exosleeves, Nirvana Foods with their glacial smiles. Above them hovered holocameras, feeding the event to billions of anxious screens. Kira sat in the data gallery with her laptop wired to the algorithmic heart of the lottery. She glanced at her watch. 10:59 and 57 seconds. 3 seconds to ignition. Her perturbation was nested, dormant, like a tiny bird about to wake. Director Thorne of Palladium cleared his throat. Commencing rotation lottery. May the numbers honor prosperity. He pressed a chrome button. The machine's whirred, molecular gates opening and closing faster than neurons firing. 8 seconds later, the holoprojector spat out the results. Ball 4. Gorgon Security. The room froze. Kira felt the world tilt. She stared at her screen. According to her own hash trace, Ball 4 should have been mapped away from Gorgon entirely. She refreshed, dived 2 layers deeper. The perturbation was untouched, yet the output contradicted it. Dear Thorne was already speaking into a mic. Results certified. Gorgon Security, you now control Bunker Omega 4. Kira's heartbeat clawed at her ribs. This couldn't be an audit error. Her patch was flawless. Someone had counter-rigged the lottery, targeting exactly her blind spot. She pulled the local entropy logs. There, 12 milliseconds before the final draw, an extraneous process labeled Clean Sweep had injected a burst of quantum noise, overwhelming her perturbation. The signature used her own encryption style, almost mocking. She looked across the boardroom and saw Minerva Holt, Chief Analytics Officer for Gorgon, watching her with calm amusement. Minerva had been Kira's mentor a decade earlier, long before switching core. She raised a glass in a barely perceptible toast. Kira's screen pinged. Secure message from unknown. Subject, I know what's in Omega 4. The letters burnt. Within minutes, the boardroom's exit doors sealed. Gorgon operatives in exosleeves stepped forward. 2 delegates from Lucent Bio, losers this round, were escorted to the annex for the traditional single-shot surrender. The rest filed out, faces gray, as transfer papers appeared on holoslates. Kira moved mechanically, gathering her notes, until a security drone blocked her path. Ms. Zhang, it intoned. Director Holt requests your presence. The drone led her to a side chamber overlooking the flooded skyline. Minerva waited alone, sipping green tea. Kira, she said softly, I recognized your perturbation the moment I saw it. Old habits. Kira kept her face blank. What do you want? Your talent, of course, and the teenagers currently trespassing in my new bunker. Minerva folded her arms. I remember how you protect strays. Noble, but inefficient. Give them up and join Gorgon. We could do great work again. Kira's mind sprinted. She saw Lena's shy grin, Rathi's nervous energy. She pictured them dragged from Omega 4 by armored soldiers. You won the draw, she said. Why come to me? Just sweep the bunker. Minerva raised an eyebrow. Because someone has already locked all Omega Series bunkers from the inside using root credentials tied to your DNA. Omega 4, Omega 5, Omega 7. A fail-safe? Admirable, but it makes transfer complicated. Only you can open them without damaging costly infrastructure. So that was why the security door had taken an extra second to recognize her last night. Lena must have written a bunker chain lock with Kira's credentials as a keystone. I can't override what I don't control, Kira lied. Minerva smiled. Perhaps a demonstration will convince you. She snapped her fingers. The wall screen flickered to live feed. 2 squads of Gorgon troopers in full tactical gear outside Omega 4's vault door. They hosed the keypad with plasmic cutters. Sparks spat. The door remained pristine. You have 24 hours, Minerva said. Either join me and we grant your orphans provisional citizenship, or refuse and the bunker wars begin. I prefer data to bullets, but Gorgon never shies from either. The drone escorted Kira out. Her pulse roared. She needed allies, fast. Viridian CO Anton Ree was too cautious to cross Gorgon openly, but there was another path. The Shadow Ledger. An underground network of rogue analysts who traded algorithms like black market organs. Kira had once saved a ledger node from audit. Its founder, an androgynous hacker named Velvet Quartz, still owed her. She ducked into an elevator, swiped a code into the maintenance panel, and rode the car 40 floors below the basement. There, hidden behind obsolete servers, was a dusty terminal with a single blinking prompt. Kira / need immediate bandwidth. Gorgon hijacked lottery. Bunker chainlock hostage. Will trade master randomization engine Velvet / spicy. Data duel. Kira / full tilt. 24 harsh. Velvet / uploading arsenal. Good luck, Jang. Code flooded her terminal. Worm scripts, lattice eroders, predictive cascade models. Kira inhaled, centered herself. Then she reached out to Lena through the bunker's low-bandwidth back channel. Kira / compromised. Gorgon outside. Chainlock strong. Lena / quantum tight. But they've got drills. Kira / hold. Going to war. Love you. Rafi chimed / get him, Kira. She shut the channel. Every second counted. Outside, the corporate networks resembled a constellation of fortresses, connected by micro-thin bridges. To topple Gorgon's claim, Kira needed incontrovertible proof that the lottery had been tampered with. She couldn't just present her own patch. That would incriminate her. Instead, she'd force Gorgon to expose its manipulation via an irreversible public ledger transaction. She began by seeding Velvet's lattice eroders into Gorgon's fringe servers' warehouse climate controls, minor marketing nodes, small enough to avoid alarm. The eroders mapped network topology, searching for a bridge, into clean sweep. Alongside the bridge was a recording building, the protection including built-in range. Each time they hit an authentication wall, she deployed Coarse Neural A, a script that spun up thousands of recombinant passphrases derived from corporate HR databases, employee birthdays, pet names scraped from social feeds. 8 hours in, she found it. A dormant dev environment tagged clean_vault. She slipped a probe inside. Hash clusters matched the signature from Minerva's quantum noise injection, the smoking gun. But she needed to make Gorgon sign its own confession. So she wrote a smart contract on the public holochain. If Clean Sweep's fingerprint matches the injection signature and is validated by Gorgon's privileged key, then broadcast full source to every mirror and nullify bunker ownership transfer. The trick lay in compelling Gorgon's key to sign. For that, she launched a Prism fork, forcing Gorgon's certificate authority to initiate an emergency rollover due to fabricated inconsistencies. In the chaos, the CA auto-resigned all child keys, including clean sweeps. Those signatures propagated outward, straight into her smart contract. At 2:17, the contract executed. Public feeds erupted. Hashtag Lottery Leak and Gorgongate topped the world feed within minutes. Journalists demanded comment. Gorgon's stock wobbled. Minerva struck back fast. She deployed blackguard spiders, feral AIs that consumed exposed code and regurgitated faux versions laced with stochastic counters, muddying attribution. Kira watched as her smart contract's clarity dissolved into contradictory forks. The duel escalated. Kira called Velvet. Need amplification. Velvet responded by enlisting 5 more ledger nodes. They channeled terabytes of forensic logs into a single spear-tip file, hashed 32 times, impossible to forge. They pinned it to the hollow consensus, an immutable archival ring funded by academic refugees. Even blackguard spiders couldn't tamper there. Minerva pivoted from data to muscle. At Omega 4, drones deployed thermobaric rounds, hoping brute force could outpace code. The blast rocked the bunker. Lena sent frantic messages. Walls holding, power flickering. Kira realized Gorgon wouldn't stop. She needed a final gambit. In the deepest tier of the rotation lottery lived the kernel, an ancient failsafe. If catastrophic fraud invalidated a draw, the lottery defaulted to the prior year's ownership map, freezing transfers for 12 months. Triggering the kernel required a quorum of 5 lead statisticians from different corporations to submit digital blood signatures. Really impossible, no one trusted anyone that much. But Kira didn't need the actual statisticians, she just needed their blood. She hacked the corporate biobanks. Each megacorp stored genetic backups of executives in cryofridges for organ cloning. Using Velvet's arterial locators, she siphoned microsamples remotely, converting genomic sequences into the cryptographic blood signatures the Colonel accepted. She forged 4 within an hour: Lucent Bio, Nirvana Foods, Zephyrus Energy, and Palladium Governance. For the 5th she hesitated. Her own? That would visibly tie her to fraud. Yet time bled away. Lena's next message. Air filters glitching. Kira injected her own sequence. The Colonel query lighted green. Execute? Y/N. She slammed Y. Across the dataverse, sirens howled. The Colonel thundered, voiding the current lottery. Ownership snapped back to last year's state. Viridian retained Omega-4, but the price was immense. Voiding the lottery meant all 8 corporations had equal grounds for grievance. In previous centuries, this clause had triggered boardroom duels, limited to ceremonial pistols. Now it meant bunker wars. Gorgon moved first, deploying armored columns toward Omega-4, while legal teams sued Viridian for sabotage. Viridian scrambled defense drones. Lucent Bio, furious that their blood signature had been misused, sided with Gorgon. Zephyrus, eternal opportunists, offered mercenary support to the highest bidder. The city's night sky filled with railgun tracers. Kira raced to the tram station, but the maglines were offline. She hijacked a courier skimmer and shot across the flooded streets, weaving past burning billboards. At the Omega Sector checkpoint, Viridian drones flagged her identity, requesting override codes. She transmitted an executive override stolen from Anton Ree's office. The gates lifted. Inside the tunnel to Omega-4, the air smelled like ionized dust. She reached the vault door. Gorgon troopers lay unconscious, hit by Minder's stunned rounds. The android waited, dented but intact. Kira placed her palm on the chain-lock pad. Override. Open sesame. The door irised. She rushed to the living quarters. Lena and Raffi hugged her tears. Laughter, exhaustion mingled. "You did it," Lena whispered. "Not yet," Kira said. "The war's just starting." Explosions echoed overhead. Gorgon breaching charges. Minder scanned. External forces reorganizing. Kira had one last card. The Omega bunkers were linked by a subterranean mag loop, originally designed for resource sharing. If she could open every Omega door simultaneously and flood the loop with phased plasma from the geothermal plant, she'd create a firewall no intruder could cross, but it would also seal the loop for years, isolating whoever was inside. Raffi glanced at the schematic. "That puts us in a tomb." "A fortress," Kira corrected. "Self-sustaining, at least until the surface calms. Maybe we broker peace from here." Lena nodded. "Do it." Kira interfaced with the plant. She felt the geothermal turbines rumble through the floor like subterranean thunder. She initiated the loop flood. One by one, Omega Series bunkers reported sealed. Outside, sensors showed Gorgon troops retreating, air too hot for electronics. In the boardroom above, holofeeds crashed. The corporation suddenly blind to what lay beneath their feet. Silence settled. In the gloom, Kira sank to the floor, relief washing over her. Minder knelt beside her, static humming. "We're safe?" Raffi asked. "For now," Kira said. "We bought time." Lena sat cross-legged, opening her terminal. "Then let's use it. We can stream the truth from here, build alliances, shame them into ceasefire." Kira smiled weakly. "You're dreaming big." "Well," Lena said, fingers flying, "you taught me, probabilities are just numbers. The world changes when we weight them differently." Kira looked around the bunker, hydroponic beds glowing softly, reinforced walls breathing recycled air, her chosen family close. Above them, corporate titans raged, blind and deaf. Below, in this pocket of stolen safety, a future flickered. She pulled out her laptop. "Okay," she said. "Let's rig the next draw, this time for everyone." And in the depths, new algorithms bloomed like bioluminescent seeds, promising that the cold mathematics of chance might yet yield to the warmer calculus of hope.